What is going on, Entertain? So today I'm coming to y'all with another video. So recently, you guys, T and Animac went on back on Fit's podcast, and they had a whole lot to say about baddies, and they spilled a little bit of tea. So I had to give y'all a little bit of a recap on the tea that they spilled. Okay, my name is T, and I want the tea. Okay, so shout out to King Trail and Smack, because they're like the messy straight dudes I never thought that I needed, because they really tried to get some good tea. Okay, like that's what makes a good podcast good. Okay, let's all beat around the bush. Let's really ask some of the questions that might get you in trouble. Okay, so they kind of started off with asking her experience and everything like that. It looks like T wasn't very much liked with a lot of the girls, just from some of the stuff that she was saying in the beginning. And it also seems like she kind of enjoyed her experience with Zeus, but she wasn't the most liked. So they got into the whole Winter thing. So if you guys don't know, Winter went on back on Fig, I believe, last week and spoke on Lemmy Pepper asking her if she wanted her own show. Like Lemmy Pepper, proposed. She proposed to Lemmy Pepper that she wanted her own show, whatever, and Lemmy Pepper was just like, no, so like, yeah, I got a hotel room. You don't want to join me? The pillows are fluffy. Like that ass. Okay, and basically was trying to get some of those Big Debbie cakes. So she sort of talked about that on back on Fig. And they asked her about that. They're like, hey, like, Miss Winter went through that. Did, anybody else try to get some of your Debbie cakes? And she basically says, no. I really like T just off of this podcast. You could tell, as much as a lot of y'all found her voice annoying, she seems like a humble person. She doesn't seem like a person who kind of like thinks too much about herself. That's why I think like she's become my fan favorite the whole season. She seems very relatable, and she really is a key. So she basically said like she minded her business to what some of the other girls were doing, but she never gave no Big Debbie cakes to nobody. She said just know that. And she said basically the reason why is because if you down out here in the industry and giving up Big Debbie cakes, then everybody gonna expect those Big Debbie cakes to be given up. Okay, they're gonna want all the Big Debbie cakes because she worked at, of course, Wild and Out. So let's say if she slept with a Nick Cannon and Mr. Lemmy Pepper got word of that, he's gonna expect some cakes too, which makes a lot of sense. A lot of girls in the industry sort of fall victim to doing that because they sort of just give Debbie cakes all around. Next thing they know, to be is being like a pass around. And it's hard for them to book jobs because let's say if you're not attractive to the person that's trying to give you the job and they want some Big Debbie cakes, you'll have to close your eyes and throw it back. So yeah. So then Animac joins. So Animac joins with her kinky curly hair. So Animac is very smart. She says that she dyed her hair red so that way when she goes back home, people won't recognize her. Okay.
He knocked the daylight out of him. The daylight savings.
Redder than Roland Ray's wig that he had on that interview. So that to me is actually pretty smart because Animax's hair right now in the interview was that color that you guys see right here. It's like a honey blonde type of color, and it's like curly. So she does that because she doesn't want people asking like, "Oh my God, that's you from the show," like sort of kind of bothering her a little bit. So smart girl for thinking of that. I didn't even think of doing nothing like that. So that's very, very smart of her. Apparently, a group of girls, she said, fought T and was looking for Animac. So these group of girls that I think is Roly Poly Snap Meals, aka Vegan Bites Enterprises, ET Boots with the Fire, and Scotty with Lemmy Pepper's Body. Okay, so basically, those three, I guess, sort of tag teamed T. Okay, and she did her big one, as we saw from the trailer. She at least attempted to try to do her big one. And they kind of got into a little bit more tea in regards to Rolly. So basically, they sort of spilled that everybody was scared of Roly Poly Snack Meals. Okay, the vegan bites was a biting. Okay, she says a lot of the girls were kind of petrified to fight or get into it with Miss Vegan Bites because I guess she holds supreme at Baddies. All right, but as we all see in the trailer, T ends up fighting Roly Poly Snack Meals. All right. And she basically says she fights the biggest bee on the show. T says that her and Animax started no fights, but they got in the most fights. Apparently, y'all, now this is where it got interesting. After T got in a tussle with the first girl, I don't know who that would be. I'm guessing it was with Scotty. I'm just putting a wild guess out there. She got a raise. Okay, Lemmy Pepper was just like, oh my god, like I didn't think you didn't think you were a fighter. I'm gonna give you like an extra 10K. How about that? Doesn't that feel good? What do you think about that hotel though? Oh, okay. Oh, never mind, never mind. I'm just throwing that out there. Okay, so she got a little bit of raise after getting her first tussle, which I'm like, okay, Zeus, like y'all really cutting the checks over there. My whole thing is, at least if they're going to be exploited, compensate them for it. So I'm not mad at that. I know it kind of encourages violence and it's kind of sick, low key, allegedly, if that did happen. But hey, there's a whole lot of networks that pay you less, that don't pay you a dime, and they out here fighting and getting scratched up and bruised up and leaving with black eyes. So I'd rather them do that than the the other side. Okay, so apparently T did get a tag team, of course, with I'm guessing Rolly and ET Boost with the Fire. And she says she did the show so basically people could get to know her. She says she got jumped before. I'm like, please don't say it built character like Shanae off of BGC 11, but she didn't say that, y'all. Because Shanae, we still not forgive you over that comment because you saying you getting jumped. It built character, okay? And Anna Mac sort of mentions DJ Sky. It says that DJ Sky is basically like a pick me, okay? So if let's say you like, oh, my favorite color is blue, DJ Sky would be like, oh my god, I love blue. I'm gonna actually dye my hair aqua blue. So she feels as if DJ Sky is sort of a pick me. She sort of agrees with everything that she sort of agrees with everything that somebody says, and says that DJ Scott apologized to her, but she still doesn't f with her, and she likes people that has their own identity. Now that I agree with. I can't stand a copy them up. Okay, like, oh my god, just be yourself. Do something different than what I'm doing. Like, that's the I say this on this channel all the time. Like, I can't be friends with somebody that wants to do like the exact same thing that I'm doing because it's irritating to me because it's like you don't have your own identity. Like, you're not yourself. Like, ugh. Okay, so that was basically most of the tea that was really, really spilled. I sort of looked around just to see if I missed anything, but that was really mostly it. The girlies can't really say too much because Mr. Lemmy Pepper and team is watching. Okay, Natalie's watching with a sharp chin. Okay, over the tea. All right. Let me know what you guys think down below about some of the things that was spilled during this podcast. Make sure you guys please do check out their podcast down below because that's where they spilled a whole lot of the tea. So shout out to Back on Fig and Kintra and Smack. Okay, leave your comments out down below about what you guys think, and we're out, babies. No personal thing.